Hi there, welcome back to LeeCampbell.com self-sessions. Continuing on today talking about goal setting and looking more at motivations. So from the previous session, we learned that there can be three different types of sources of motivation. We're going to just list through those quickly. So one of them is your environment. So are you motivated from things without, so your external environment, or motivated from things within, so your internal environment? Second on that list would be needs. So are you motivated for the need for basic survival, or have you escalated up to looking for thriving? And third on that list would be your identity. So are you looking for control, connection, or completion? So walking back up that list, so starting at number one, my preference is for external motivations, intrinsic motivations. External motivations, however, can be really helpful if you just need that little kickstart. I know if I'm training for a sporting event or something and the coach needs to sort of yell at me and get me up and going, that can work, or maybe a little bit of pressure to get an assignment finished, that can work too. But longer term, I don't find those so useful. But what we're going to do today is focus a lot more on the identity, number three. So are you looking for affiliation? Are you looking for achievement? Or are you looking for power? So that would be your connection, completion, or control. So let's combine those identity sources of motivation with internally sourced motivations, ideally targeting growth. So this is going to be our movement from hygiene to growth, or from surviving to thriving. Something that we'll see high performers often have is this real clarity of identity and purpose. They know who they are and they know why they do the things that they do. Let's see if we can find out who we are and why we want to do the things we do. Recently, I was lucky enough to be in a position where I had a meal with one of the greats, a rare elite who had done things that no one else had done in the world and had operated at the top of their game for over a decade. We talked about pressure, stress, performance, success, and failure. And I was really interested to know if they were a goal setter. So I sort of asked them, I wasn't sure how to ask them. So I asked them a group of questions. I said, do you set goals, and do you have a process for setting those goals? Do you have a way to remove distractions? And maybe do you have any anti-goals? And with total clarity, they responded, look, first, you've got to know who you are. And then you've got to ask your question, where do you want to be? And then you have to go back and ask yourself again, who are you? Because that's really hard to do. And then you've got to ask yourself, who do you not want to be? Because in moments of pressure, that's what you're going to revert back to. I was sort of blown away a little bit by this. One, with the quick response and the clarity of the response, and also just the intensity of the response. Now, when this person talks about pressure, I don't think they're talking about the temptation of the last cookie in the cookie jar. They're talking about high pressure moments on a world stage. But it's great to see that that's how they framed it, that first they wanted to know their identity and also find the gaps in their identity which might trigger a poor performance in a pressure moment. Adam Leipzig, I hope I'm saying your name properly, has a wonderful TEDx talk which aligns similar to some of the things that have worked really well for me. They talk about how to find ways to motivate yourself, and he comes up with a really simple list of 4 things. The first question is, who are you? Second question is, and what do you do? What do you do supremely well? What are you supremely qualified to teach other people to do? Then the third question is, who do you do it for? And the fourth question is, what do they get out of it? It's a really simple model. I really like it. Also aligns has a lovely alignment to Seth Godin's Leap First work about creating work that matters. So being the best in the world doesn't mean being best in all of Earth, but being best in some person's world. So For example, if you wanted to, instead of being the best coffee shop in the world, be the best coffee shop in your neighborhood, because as far as that neighborhood is concerned, that is their world. On their way to work, they get their coffee. So focusing on what you can control, so you can control being the best coffee shop in the neighborhood, which as far as those people are concerned means you're the best coffee shop in the world. Okay, so here's an exercise for you. Next time you're alone and you've got just 2 minutes to think about it, so that might be brushing your teeth, might be while you're in the shower, ask yourself those questions. Who are you? Really, who are you? What is it that you're supremely qualified to teach other people? Who do you do this for? Who are these people? And what did they get out of it? When I did this process for myself, I came back with, I help other people get great software into the world. So that was the result of my process. Finding answers here is going to help us find our identity and purpose. That's going to be really useful for framing our goals later. So after you've done this process, if you like what you see, then we're just going to have to tighten up on our focus of our identity and purpose, generally our purpose. And then if you don't like what you see here, then that's okay too. You may have found a gap that's the difference between where you are and where you want to be, where you see yourself, or maybe where other people see you. That's good too. We also want to know how we can make those changes. This then takes us on to the next part, which is once you have your identity and purpose, that's going to help you set your goals. A lot of people try and first go and set goals without understanding who they really are. And often I see people set goals that are not congruent with their identity. So an example might be someone decides that they want to get up early every day and go to the gym. However, part of their identity is that they play games late night online with a group of friends and they're really social. So the goal of getting up early is in direct conflict with their identity of staying up late. Another one I've seen is where someone wanted to eat healthy and lose weight, but their identity was such that they were the person, the socialite in the office that chose where they would go to lunch every day. And there was an expectation on them to take them to nice places instead of maybe bringing in their lunch, saving some money, or their goal being eating healthier. So what we want to find is some way to have all of our motivations aligned so that they're going in the same direction. So we're not trying to swim upstream, as it were. So let's find what our purpose and identity is, really marry that to how we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves, any gaps we want to find, and then align things to there. So knowing our purpose, knowing our identity is really going to help us with our goal setting and setting ourselves up for success. So we're going to recap. Little exercise for you to do. Now we're at the end of the video. I want you to ask those 4 questions. Thank you, Adam. Question 1 is, who are you? Question 2, what is it that you do? What are you supremely qualified to teach other people? Who do you do that for? And lastly, what did they get out of that? All right, I hope this has been helpful. Lee Campbell, we're still doing goal setting. We're still doing goal setting here down at the Sydney Harbour. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.